And we're back live with the Beef and Barnzy show on this Wednesday. And of course, as usual, I am Barnzy, but I'm here with the better looking and half and the brains of the operation, Beef Stew. How you feeling this Wednesday?
I'm feeling a little blah. I had an argument with the treadmill last night. I tried running. Probably don't want to do that again. I need to get back in a bowling center very soon because we all need exercise, and my exercise is bowling. It's not running on a treadmill. I think the treadmill would appreciate me getting back in the bowling center as well. It had a bit of a whine as I was starting to run. So yeah, that was last night, and this morning my legs reminded me that I probably haven't run since I was about 12 and about to be beat up by the school bully.
Well, speaking of bullies, today is we're having an early happy hour today.
So yes, we are.
We are, and we're bringing on this fantastic duo here. The first one is a four-time Youth Team Canada and four-time Adult Team Canada member. I found it very interesting that he's won a collegiate singles championship in 2014, a Pan Am doubles championship in 15, the World Championship trios in 13, and a World Team Championship in 14. And he's also been a PBA Rookie of the Year, four-time titleist, including the 2016 U.S. Open and 2016 Shark, the 2017 Jonesboro Open. He then retired for 2 years, and then came back to win the 2019 U.S. Open. So, comeback player of the year, Francois Lavoie.
All right, guys, how you doing?
Hi, Frankie.
And it's great to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too.
Are you holed up in Wichita here?
Yeah, holed up in Wichita. Actually, not super holed up. The restrictions aren't as strict as in some other places in the country and in the world. But mostly like everybody else, staying at home as much as possible.
Rumor is you guys might be opening up soon.
Yeah, I think they're talking about phase 2. The bowling centers will be part of phase 2 here, and they're talking about opening up on Monday if everything goes well. I think the governor is going to be speaking tomorrow to see if that goes forward or not.
Very good. Well, with that, let's bring on your co-host of the happy hour, and he brings the happy to this. The Irish Wonder Boy. He won the AIK tournament. He finished second at the World Cup, fourth at last year's Masters, and he says he is 100% the better looking of the two. Christopher Sloan.
Well, I'm glad we didn't do my intro first because otherwise it would have been a lot shorter than Frankie's. But however,
I was hoping that intro would just be let's bring on Chris.
Yeah,
and that would have been the intro.
Yeah, we could have got our friend from the comment section to just say we're going to bring on this guy.
To be honest, we did actually get in contact with him, but his agent said that he wasn't available for the fee that we were willing to pay.
There's no way Chris was willing to pay a fee. I'm going to start off the roasting nice and quick. I got to get a jab in before you do.
No, that's perfectly fair. And as you can see from our production value, he doesn't pay me a lot either. But this is today's board here, so he gets what he pays for as well. So he has to do most of the work.
Yeah, I feel like we should get off to a smooth start by bringing up the fact that you two are very very similar to me, specifically wild overachievers in relationships.
I agree.
I agree.
Oh, you do? Oh, you really did disappoint me, Sloan. So I felt like I was going to bury you with Bernice with that question because you do tend to argue with us when we say that. Chris does love some Chris, doesn't he?
No, hang on, right? Jesus, you said we were going to start off smooth. My phone is going to be blowing up in the next 5 seconds. No, so I definitely overachieved with Bernice, yes. And that's all I have to say on the matter. I'm not discussing any more on that one. I'm very lucky to have her. Unlike, the rest of... Who pulled this up? Where did this come from? See, this is why I prefer mine and Frankie's show, because we don't have the paid version. We can't do things like this to each other.
So this was when Bernice won the Queens.
She came through in hers.
Yes. So I was wondering, with her experience of stepping up on the big stage and winning, why didn't she give you any hints?
This is probably the closest you will have from a guest walking off your show. Definitely up there. Like, yeah.
I haven't upset your mother yet. She's probably laughing.
Oh God, yeah. So Bernice actually did help me a little bit. She made me get my head together and made me start making some better decisions in life. As everyone knows, I was not exactly the king of making those decisions. What a comment! Anyway, yeah, she made me see a much clearer path, and started to do a couple of the right things, and then I started to get a bit more serious with my fitness, my body, etc., etc. So, yeah.
Yeah, you've been making strides into becoming an adult.
Yeah, it's taken long enough, I think I turned into an adult when I was about 18, and then I think I really started to turn into an adult like 6 months ago. So
that's good.
Yeah, I don't know. Things sometimes they take a little bit of a push. Frankie knows that.
Yeah.
Packy Hanrahan. No, Packy. What? I've been defending you every week, and now you have turned on me when I do not need it, man.
When you need him most. It's okay, Sloan. We're not gonna let Frankie get away with it. I reached out to Frankie's girlfriend this morning, and I was chatting away with her a little bit, and we were discussing things that Frankie disliked most in the house. And she said that Frankie was so against doing the dishes, he bought a house because it had a dishwasher. So that kind of puts in perspective where he had that he'd rather buy a house than have to do the dishes by hand.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, she won't even use the dishwasher. She prefers doing them by hand.
I remember when.
But does she get upset when you do the dishes and you use the dishwasher though? You don't know because you haven't used the dishwasher either.
I don't. Yeah, there's not enough data to provide an answer.
There's buttons on the front. When you push them, it makes it make noise.
So maybe Sloan can attest to this. Another thing that Tatiana, who is you're very lucky to have in your life, Frankie. She tells us that you're quite the neat freak, and the coat hangers have to be all the same direction the whole way across. Distance between the clothes. So I was just wondering, Sloan, did you rooming with Frankie? I mean, I have some stories, but of course we're bringing you on, and this is your opportunity. Did you have any of these issues with Frankie when you've been on the road?
Yeah, so I did, right? Frankie is a very clean person, which is not something I can complain about after rooming with Pontus for like 7 years. So, in the spirit of not losing my roommate who picks up after himself and cleans up after himself, and sometimes even does it for me, but I'm relatively, Frankie, would that be fair to say I'm relatively clean too, at least when we're on the road?
Yeah, relatively.
Yeah, relatively.
Not like, relatively to me, who just doesn't know where everything just goes.
See, it's quite convenient too, and myself and Frankie are on the road as well, because we're both, like 3 feet tall, that we don't take up too much space in a room, so we don't cause too many problems.
Mackie's suggesting we've seen Frankie measure the distance between each hanger.
I can't remember like specifically.
Are we going for a closet tour? Is that what we're doing now? Am I taking the laptop with me?
Yeah, I mean, feel free if we can do a PBA crib.
This isn't even welcome to my crib. This isn't rehearsed, just so everyone knows.
No, Frankie knew nothing about this, only Tati.
Yeah, and it's spotless.
Do you arrange them in any way? They color coded. It doesn't look like it.
A little bit. We've got the whites over here. Colors, a lot of black. We've got long sleeves. We've got polos. Over here, we got the bowling area. So the pants are over here. And the bowling jerseys and all that.
So a lot of
with a
people will think like this is just what his closet looks like at home. But when we go away, this is exactly the same. This is what his closet looks like whenever we're in an Airbnb or in a hotel or wherever we are.
He always gives you he always takes an itinerary, takes stock of how many hangers there are. And he always whenever he rooms with me, he always looks over and goes, "You're not going to use any of these, are you?"
Yeah.
You need all 6?
I've got a chair. Knock yourself out. Frankie's like,
we were at I think it was the World Series, and we were in South Point, and there was like 8 hangers or something like that. And Frankie was like, are you using the hangers? And I was like, well, yeah, I'll use a couple of them because we're going to, go out and chill and I have some decent clothes with me. He was like, yeah, okay. I'll leave you a couple. And then I walk over and he left me 2. There was 8. I was like, Frankie, I was like, not every shirt needs a hanger. I was like, relax. I was like, put 2 on one. And he looked at me. He looked at me like I had 10 heads when I said, why don't you just put 2 shirts on one hanger? He was like, huh?
The problem is Frankie's shirts are so small. I don't think he can stretch 2 onto one hanger. I can't
for the
complain.
Yeah,
Barry Asher,
Frankie
open up for Frankie to do a little bit of work for him.
Yeah, gladly.
Yeah, Barry's my guy.
I've got a call from Cambodia coming through.
I feel like
pick up. Why don't you pick? You should pick up.
I should have done. It's fake direct TV saying that they could make my bill 50% smaller.
You should have picked up and let me talk. That would have it could have went anywhere.
Exactly. The English on their end and the English on your end would have been impossible for anybody to understand.
Exactly. Oh, again.
Here's something on your side, Frankie. Well organized. I do not find it humorous. Makes packing easy.
Yes, very serious person.
Yeah,
very true.
Well, you're also kind of a serious person.
Oh, here we go, Chris. You've brought Sean Kennedy into our lives. The tournament organizer of the Irish Open for as many years as I can remember.
As long as I can remember, too. He's been with that company for a very long time.
I don't think this person's aware that you're a bowler, Frank.
No. No. I don't think so either.
Sorry, go ahead, Chris. Sean.
Oh God, yeah, Sean. I was about to rag on Frankie there, but yeah, Sean's been the organizer of anything bowling related with Leisureplex in Ireland for like the last however many years, my whole lifetime. I actually got an email from him today, which I fantastically ignored, and I'm sorry about that, Sean. I'll get back to you because I forgot I was coming live, so I didn't think you'd know that I wasn't looking at my laptop. So, I'll get back to you.
I love the way that the Beef and Barnzy show has basically become an extension of the happy hour right now. Completely off the rails.
Well, I've decided I actually don't drink that much anymore. So me and Frankie decided that we'd do happy hour. Don't shake your head at me. But I decided that I would only drink while we're in lockdown once a week. And Frankie said he would only drink once a week. And we said, well, we may as well start doing a show about it and just like chit chat like we would normally. And that's how it happened. So I decided that I definitely wasn't going to drink. Sorry, a cat just walked on my wall. I decided I definitely wasn't going to drink tonight because I didn't want to get roasted I didn't want to roast people a little bit too much, aka Barnes. And still, I don't have that much dirt on you. I done a little digging on Barnes, but I don't have that much on you. So I thought I would turn the show around a little bit at some point during the.
You guys definitely don't drink. I mean, never at all. I mean,
not anymore. Not really.
No. You look super sober in this picture with Arturo. Has anybody ever taken a picture with Arturo sober?
I don't think so.
That picture is from a while ago. That's not like it happened 3 days ago.
Frankie doesn't look like any different. He just looks like he's got a little bit of growth. That's it.
I've only seen Frankie really.
Who's that in the back? That's Jesper, isn't it?
That is Jesper, yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember.
That's when he had a lot less than 10 titles.
Yeah.
I mean,
holding up the amount of titles on that.
In that club that night, you would have sworn he had 150 titles because we were in Sweden when we were actually in that picture. And wasn't it the year, Frankie, he won the sports person thing in Sweden?
Yeah, I think so.
And we were sitting at this table, and like a couple of people walked past, and they looked, and they gave it the double look. Me and Frankie were looking at each other, and we were like, what's this all about? Next minute, 10, 15 people kept coming over and going to Jesper, and we were like, what's going on? Like, it was, yeah, he may as well have won 10 titles at that time.
So, Sloan, were you in San Marino the year that Frankie won?
Yeah.
Did you bear witness to that?
Do you notice how even I went quiet there? Because I wasn't sure if you're going to get him or if you're going to get me. So,
yeah, it could go either way. I don't know. Let's hear where this is going.
Frankie, I babysat Frankie. It was one of his first trips to Europe, I think, with the European tour type of situation. And obviously, I'm always the designated driver because I don't drink. So in the same night, I had to take Marshall Kent's mum home because she'd had a couple too many shandies.
That's right. When we came to the bowl.
Yeah, and we were a little concerned because Frankie had disappeared, like completely disappeared. And people there were trying to find Frankie to say goodbye because somebody they didn't know. It wasn't me and Dom who made the ladder most of the time there. It was Frankie. This little upstart had turned up, won the tournament, and then he'd got
started drinking.
Completely right.
Yeah.
And he disappeared. Now, bearing in mind, I've been in this bowling center. This was the 12th year I'd bowled there. Frankie had managed to find a bathroom that neither me or Don knew existed. And he'd basically disappeared. Okay, whatever. So we eventually found him, and we convinced him that he had to come off the toilet, even though he kept shaking his head, and come out and say bye to these people. So Frankie had kind of said bye to a few of these people, and then there's it's hard to explain. There's that grated area outside because the bowling center is like too low.
Yeah.
And the top level, there's like a draft that comes up because it's like a grate.
Yeah.
And miraculously, I found Frankie asleep on the grate, celebrating his success. And somebody had found him a coat from the lost and found because he was cold.
Oh,
so a little windy up there.
Yeah, it was a
little what out there?
Windy.
So Frankie woke up the next morning in a pink jacket, lady size, because of course none of the men's coats would fit Frankie.
Yeah. I keep waiting for the pictures to come up. We've seen pictures. You pulled up pictures already.
Yeah, I decided that they were probably best left to the imagination. If you think about this, imagine the most embarrassingly drunk you've been, and add a little, and you'd probably be there.
Yeah,
that was a fun night.
Yeah, that was the second tournament in a row you won.
Yeah.
Because you'd won in Madrid the week before. So that was cool. I invited Frank over. All the other European guys were like, sure glad you brought this guy.
This was when was this the same night when Osku, I think it was, opened a bottle of champagne when we were all celebrating after the tournament. And it went all over my pants and all over the waitress's pants.
Yes, that might have been my fault.
And you're the one who shook it.
Well, Oscar opened it, and then it ended up on you. And then Martin came over to leave because he was going to work, right? And I had another bottle of champagne. And as Martin turned around, I shook the champagne and opened it dead onto the ass of his trousers that he was wearing. So he got absolutely covered in it. And of course, the guy who was giving him a ride, I think he was leaving with Patrick Guerre from Boltec, France.
Yeah.
And he ended up, Martin was so pissed off because he had to go and get changed because he had this huge champagne on the back of his trousers. So yeah, that was definite fun times.
That area will certainly get you. I think
good times that was.
Yeah.
the whole night in the bar.
Yeah, I mean Adriano, the owner of the bowling center, is like the greatest host ever. If it looks like you're starting to die down a little bit, like oh, he'll send over a platter of desserts, or oh, you need some more champagne, no problem, we can sort you out. You're the champion. So
Some limoncello.
There was one night there in that place. So we always stay in Rimini, which is like 30 minutes away. Frankie and me stayed there this year. We didn't actually room together this year, did we? Oh no. Either way. Well, we were in the same group.
Yeah.
Me, you, Simo, Cameron Doyle, and Nick Pay. Anyway.
Anyway, Will Robinson.
Anyway,
what could go wrong?
There was one night in that bowling center. I actually remember. I vaguely remember. We Adriano was being so cool and so sound to all of us that he just kept giving us more and more drinks. And like we were all partying, and like it was great. I think it might have been the last night, or it might have been because we used to go there like a week early, and we stopped. Thankfully, and we stopped doing that because it was too detrimental.
Chris Sloan fan in the house.
Yeah,
I got 3 dogs here too, bro. I can't get them all on screen because they'll start barking and losing their minds. So but we left the bowling center with about 5 or 6 or 7 of the staff members that night. They weren't obviously supposed to come with us, but we.
I'm going to assume she's talking about the previous shows.
Yeah. We said, oh, okay, we'll go for one more drink, and then they said, well, we'll just drink here, and then they ordered us a taxi, and we walked outside, and there was like 7-seater vans. And we were like, there was only supposed to be like 6 of us or whatever, like our normal group or whatever. Next minute, all the staff come out of the bowling center and come with us to Rimini to party the rest of the night away. It was crazy. Thankfully, no more.
Okay, let's pivot a little bit. We spoke with Frankie about this before. So, Frankie, you had a serious lung issue. When would that have been? Like 2013?
2014. Yeah. So okay, we're going away from the jokes now, are we?
Well, yeah.
By the way, Frankie,
have a reasonably serious conversation for a few minutes, and then we can re-pivot back in. Chris can come off the top rope with Lucky Charms gags.
Yeah, summer of 2014 is when that was.
So, talk us through it. What was the situation? What happened? Like, how has that led you to be a little more cautious in the current climate?
Yeah, and well, I guess it started in the early summer in 2014. Started developing some chest pains randomly. I wasn't involved in any type of accident or anything like that. They were just random chest pains. So when I was at home, this was in between. I was in college at the time, and it was in between semesters. So I was at home, and we went to the clinic and got some X-rays done, and I guess they found a little hole in my lung, what they call a pneumothorax. And from what I learned, that doesn't have to happen from an accident. It can happen spontaneously. And so that's what happened. They say it happens to young, slender guys. So could happen to Sloan. Not likely to happen to Stu.
And so certainly not likely to happen to Chris because he's not young.
Not young anymore. So yeah, there was a hole in my lung. So essentially, what was happening was it was making it hard. I was getting some chest pains, and it was harder to breathe because air was exiting the lung and kind of staying in between the lung and the rib cage, which are supposed to be glued together essentially. So I had some air bubbles sort of moving around and getting out of my lungs. So I had to get surgery on it, and I had to miss my last World Youth Championships. Was supposed to be in Hong Kong. I had to miss that. I had another tournament I was supposed to go to with the men's national team to Mexico that I had to miss also, and I missed the first part of the next collegiate bowling season. So I was away for a while. The craziest thing that probably happened from all of this is that I couldn't fly for about 8 months afterwards. I think 6 to 8 months. I couldn't fly, and this was in the summer when I was in Canada. So about 4 weeks later, when I could barely tie my shoes on my own, I had to drive from home to Wichita because I couldn't get on a plane. So I drove my car by myself in a state of I don't know what you'd call that. I could barely move my torso like this, and I had to try to drive with only my right arm. But I have a manual transmission, so I have the right arm here, and then hope the steering wheel stays straight, shift the gear, and the highway wasn't so bad. But yeah, it was that was kind of a crazy thing that it could have gone wrong. Thankfully, it didn't.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that could have gone wrong, and of course now, it having had respiratory issues before, I guess that makes you a little more concerned with the current situation and going out or whatever.
Yeah, I've been making sure that I don't take any unnecessary trips. Tati's actually been really nice to me during all this. She's been picking up the grocery. We've been doing online grocery shopping, so we don't have to go inside, and she's been driving to pick up everything, and she's been doing a lot to kind of accommodate me in a sense.
Yeah,
very nice.
Sloan, he's making it sound like this is an unusual occurrence.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. She's always nice.
His whole life. It's not something. Wow.
She graced you with the relationship. You should be delighted with your.
It's a talent of mine to get what I want. And this is just another way of showcasing that talent. There we
go. It's a talent of mine to get what I want.
Frankie, I know the guys might find it hard to come back off the top rope when you tell an emotional story like that, but if you say things like that, I won't find it too difficult to bring it back.
Trust me, Barnes is fairly versatile. I can tell that he's been saving most of his best material for the second half of the show.
He's been silent, which is worrisome.
He's like the big lion in the jungle waiting to pound.
Yeah.
Actually, that's quite true because Chris has been quite ruthless on a few of these shows. One where he threw me completely under the bus when he texted me and asked me what did I want to ask Sean Rash, and I gave him a list of maybe about 10 different things, and he mentioned one thing, and I was just like, okay. I literally went like this. I was like, okay, I'll see what he said, and it was the first thing he said, and I just went, I'm not watching this show. And I am from this.
I mean, like, how have you found Sean coming into the global family?
He's all right. Yeah, I actually never thought that we'd really talk or get along and stuff like that, but he's pretty cool.
The same way.
Yeah,
I never thought we'd get along, but he's on our team now.
Yeah, like he was actually pretty cool. We hung out a little bit at the World Series too, off the lanes, which I wouldn't like to do in a hurry again, to be honest. But Rash is cool. Like,
only Sloan can say that in the Irish accent. Yeah, I wouldn't want to hang out with him again, but he's cool.
No. I'm not expecting that. Anyway, I was about to, but I'm not. I'm just he's all right. I think he's fun. Yeah, God. I nearly dropped the F-bombs too. You were
right.
Man. Kermit, that's fantastic.
The more this guy says, the more convinced I am it's Bobby's brother account.
Okay, actually, I have a question.
He's one of our biggest fans. He's on the show all the time.
I actually have a question for you, Barnes, if you don't mind answering. Like, obviously,
for you, LC.
Obviously, like, you were like, and for about, I would say 12 or 13 seconds, this is going to be serious before I come off the top ropes. But like, obviously, you were and still are a pretty big deal in the bowling world. So, like, to an extent, people would say that you're famous. It's certainly bowling famous, and I'm sure that you would be considered as one of the greats of our sport and all that. But if, like, you were asked who's more famous, would it be yourself or DJ Archer? Now, I think Chris knows where this is going. I don't think Frankie and Stu know. I got a call.
It was great having Chris on the show.
Connection issues.
He must be having internet problems.
Oh man,
It's
the questions are only going one way in this.
yeah, this is not your show.
So I'm gonna let Barnes tell this. I was on the baker, and I'm pretty sure my mom is watching it because you can hear hysterical laughter coming from the other
Well,
room.
bring her on. You know,
I'm sure Mrs. Sloan's got some great stories about when you were a wee nipper.
No,
right.
no.
Come
Anyway,
on, let's go.
so Barnes, wasn't it you guys were going to a baseball game or something along those lines, and you weren't recognized?
No, I mean DJ's by far. He's Mookie's ultimate ball boy, and he'll also carry his bags too. But yeah, mostly his ball boy.
See, Baker told me the story a little bit differently. He told me that you rocked up to the will call and you were like, "Stand back, I got this. Everyone, don't worry about it. I'm Chris." So he walks up and he's like, "I'm Chris Barnes. I'm collecting tickets for Mookie Betts." And she was like, "No, I'm sorry." So it got to the point where Chris was getting so frustrated. He was there. "I'm Chris Barnes," and he was spelling his name out to her, right? So after not being able to get it and sort it, whatever, he turns to another guy, and he turns back at all the guys and he gives them a look, and he's like, "This is it. I've got this fixed right now."
Oh yeah, he did.
And then TJ and I believe DJ were late, and so you guys called him or something along those lines, wasn't it? Yeah. And Tommy was like, "Well, Chris, why don't you just go and try and ask and tell them that you're DJ Archer?" He was like, "Okay, cool." So he walked right up to the desk to the same people, and he was like, "I'm DJ Archer." And the woman was just like, "No problem, Mr. Archer," and was able to fix the problem there and then.
That's right. Mookie was on the field. And DJ, they were doing warm-ups, like legit. It's half hour before the game. Mookie's on the field. DJ just texts him. And
Of course, DJ. Of course he does.
Oh, yeah. I mean, who doesn't? I mean, why wouldn't you be able to talk to? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it was one of 162 games.
But they are boys. No, DJ's definitely. He's got way more street cred there at Fenway. We'll see. We'll see what happens when we move out to LA.
I was about to say, DJ's persona non grata now at Fenway. If he turns up at Fenway now, his boys left, they'll tackle him to the ground. Oh, dear. Dear. So, Frankie, is it awkward rooming with a guy when you've got more US Open wins than he's got cuts?
Didn't he room with you for a while?
With who?
You.
Yeah, he did room with me, yeah.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
didn't have that problem then.
Listen, I wouldn't worry about it, Stu. Me and you are quite similar. We're the overachievers in our groups also. So, settle yourself, son.
Yeah, but I mean, at least I've got a picture with 2 trophies.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. That's okay. How old are you actually?
Me, personally, right now, 39.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to ask you how old you were 5 years ago, bro. Yes. I understand it's been a while since I made a cut. Oh, well, I made the cut at the US Open, but I think it was US Open.
Yeah, the Georgetown Massive is coming in for me here, but Stu has a title. It's 2 as well, William. I appreciate it.
What was it? I know you obviously the one you won the World Series, but you won the Summer Swing in Illinois, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I don't even.
That's actually another quick fun story that we were telling the other day about when poor Frankie, me and Dom shamed him into buying his lunch because he was leading our squad. Come on, you tight.
Well, that was absolute garbage.
I remember hearing about this.
Absolute trash.
So
I will never do anything nice for anybody ever again.
I remember hearing about this. This is the greatest story. Oh my God.
So me and Dom literally shame Frankie for about 10 minutes. He's just like, "Fine, I'll just take the friggin' bill." And he rips the bill and he pays it. And we're like, "Oh, Frank, thanks for lunch, mate. We'll be there for you." We get back to the bowl and it was like, bam, bam. bam, bam, bam. Every single person in the entire building striking. And we go, oh, come on, Frank, you're still going to make it. Frankie's like, I'm already 8th.
Yeah. There were 2 squads, A squad and B squad. We finished A squad. I was leading. At the end of the day, it was the stepladder final. This was Oklahoma. Tulsa.
Tulsa.
Yeah, it was Tulsa. So I'm leading A squad. Feel pretty good. Go to lunch. The boys just keep railing me, and I said, you know what? I'm having a good day. I'm in a good mood. I'll get the bill. Stop bugging me about it. So I pay for lunch. We go back to the bowling center. We walk in. I'm in 6th with 2 games to go. What is going on? This is the last time I ever do something nice for any one of you.
I think Frankie finished 8th and 3 guys missed in the 10th frame.
Yeah, 7th or 8th, I think. Yeah.
I remember Frankie was texting me at the time around that time about it. He was like, I cannot believe what is happening. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, it is an absolute joke. Like, he was losing his mind.
Yes!
There we go. See, for me, I have thick skin, so this type of stuff doesn't bother me. You know?
He could write and drafted in the PBA league as many times as Sloan.
Well, that's true as well. That's certainly true as well. We'll see. I get more closer this year, but
to answer your question, Stu, we never got to it. Chris kind of cut me off a little bit. Is it awkward for me to room with someone? No, it's not so awkward as much as I've had to adapt a little bit. I've gone from rooming with your group and Osku and Dom and you guys with who you probably have a combined 40 titles between everyone. Yeah, no, this is good. You'll enjoy the rest of this. And so I've had to adapt. My role has changed in the household from being more of a student to being more of a teacher, or another synonym might be master. And so now I'm a little bit more up here in the household compared to down here when I was with Dom and Osku and Jesper and everybody else. So I've had to get a little bit more extroverted. I've had to work on my people skills to do a little bit more teaching to the people that I currently room with.
It's not good when the guy takes the glasses off.
Now you can't even see the screen.
So what you're basically saying is that you would describe yourself as the Belmonte of your rooming arrangement.
I'm logging on. Oh God!
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
8-time show.
You wouldn't go that far. I mean,
nah, Nick just made a show.
If you Pontus, yeah,
Hey, Pontus is 75th in points. I'm going to have to agree. You didn't do
sorry,
a very
Pontus.
good job, Sensei.
Pontus, the summer tour was supposed to be yours, Pontus. I'm so sorry.
In Pontus's defense, he's never in and out. He's always out. He's always out and about. He's never actually physically in the house with us. He's always running around doing things.
He's big on the dating apps, I think, Pontus, yeah?
His parents might be looking. His parents might be watching. So Pontus has this thing with us, right? So I'm not going to rinse him because, honestly, for the last couple of weeks on our shows, I really try to, go a little easier and not, slaughter him too much. But yeah, he'd be what you would consider
the guy's
yeah, that's good. That's good stuff.
The show's come off the rails quite a bit.
Yeah, this is this is the one where me and Frankie aren't even drinking, so it's
well.
Maybe we can get it back a little bit on track. Feel like it might be time for picture time again.
Don't be me. That's okay. It's not me.
So, Just before you tell us the story of this one, I would like to focus in just a little bit. Let's see if I can zoom on the fact that Rowan's in a wheelchair being pushed around, yet still on the phone.
Yeah, well,
Did you have a
the
bit
show-
of business, Chris?
conducting a bit of business. The show must go on.
I love the fact that Frankie's staring down, glaring at him on the phone while pushing him.
Can you see
That's
that?
the look, that's the look of someone who cares for his friend.
Yeah, unlike the other three that were with me at the time. Two. Was Pontus
Two.
there? I think Pontus
Yeah,
was
just Pontus, and Simon was.
Simon
Simon was there too.
So what happened here? What tell us the story?
Yeah, so well, we need a little backstory first. This was in January. This was in January a few years ago when we were in between the AIK tournament in Sweden and the Ballmaster in Finland. So we spent the week in Sweden. We bowled the AIK, and afterwards, Chris was living in Sweden at the time, so we drove back to his apartment for a few days before heading to the airport to go to Finland for the Ballmaster. So we spent a few days at Chris's place, and the morning before leaving, Chris decides he really needs to drill some balls. We were there for about 2 days, and there was no time to do any of that. But the morning before we leave, Chris says, I got to get some balls drilled. So he tries to go to the pro shop, but he can't get out of bed. He set his alarm early. He was gonna get some work done, and he couldn't move. His back was completely locked. So he powers through, gets himself out of bed, drives to the bowling center, and I didn't go with him, so maybe you can tell the rest of the story. But you called Pontus, didn't you, to come pick you up?
So I don't know what happened, but basically, I started getting extremely sharp shooting pain in my side, and I didn't really know what to do. I hadn't really felt pain like it before, and it just came on me like that. But I knew we were leaving in a couple of hours, so I was like, I can drill these balls. It'll be all right. So I run down the pro shop. I try and get these balls drilled, and I went to pick up the ball and put it on the drill, and I wasn't actually able to. I literally couldn't even lift the ball up. So I ended up dropping on the ground in the pro shop, and it's Pontus's parents' bowling center. So his dad was looking at me, and he was like, yeah, you don't look so good. And I was like, no way. I was like, really? So I called Pontus anyway. He comes from work, and he brings me to the hospital. And I don't know what it was. I was just in a lot of pain. And I get taken into the hospital. They do some tests. They run some preliminary stuff. They take blood work and all that. And I'm lying in the bed in A&E. And the fantastic health service they have in Sweden, except the only problem was it took too long. And I knew we had a train to catch because we were going to the Ballmaster. And I said to Pontus, who was there at the time, actually, and Jazz was there too, Pontus's ex was there, and she was like, yeah, I think you're going to have to miss the Ballmaster. To which I strongly disagreed. I said, I'll be all right.
During all that time, while Chris is in the hospital, from my perspective, I was still in Chris's apartment. I hadn't gone to the bowling center with him. So Chris leaves to go to the bowling center. Pontus comes back without Chris. Pontus walks into the apartment. Chris is not with him. Pontus says, Chris is in the hospital. And so I had to get out of bed, and Pontus goes, help me, we got to pack some clothes for him to bring to the hospital. We don't know what's going on. He's running some tests. He's just in a lot of pain. And I thought, and at that time, it was probably about 9 in the morning, and our train was around 11, maybe.
That's about right, yeah.
Yeah, we had to get the train to Copenhagen around 11. So we decide to, we start packing up some clothes for Chris. And take it back, Chris. Now you're in the hospital, and you say, I have to go to the Ballmaster.
Yeah, that was kind of the decision I made. Now this was back around the times where I was not making a lot of great decisions in my life. Okay, so I checked myself out of the hospital, and I said, "Huh?
Was the wheelchair actually required or just a prop?"
Oh no, it was.
It was required. It was full on, like in a movie. IV out, stands up from the bed, didn't talk to anyone, and just left. He
No.
didn't know what was wrong with him.
No,
So-
that's not entirely true.
So it wasn't a Southwest Airlines prop, say that you've
No.
got like allergies or something so you can get on first.
No, so I said to the nurse, I said, look, you're doing the test. I'll be all right. Just let me out. I'll go home. All right.
I'll be all right.
Right. I was like, just send the results to my house. If there's anything, just, it'll be fine. Give me a couple of tablets, whatever. I haven't taken pain medication and I couldn't tell you how many years. I don't take it. And the guy's Pontus comes back to collect me. And
The basketball player. Okay.
and I said, okay, here we go. I'll be okay. So I took a couple of tablets, checked myself out of the hospital, and we're on our way to the train station. So I obviously can barely move. I had like a crutch and stuff like that as well, and I was using the suitcases to kind of walk onto the train.
The timing of all this is very important because by that time it was about 10:44 and the train was scheduled for around 11, let's say.
Yeah.
And the apartment was about 18 minutes away from the train station. There wasn't much time to spare. We had to keep going. It was madness. It was absolute madness. The car is packed. Chris is lying in the back seat, hunched over in excruciating pain, and we speed our way to the train station, leave the car there, forget about it, it's gone. Just don't even worry about the car. The car is gone. Forget about it. We take everything out. Chris can barely stand on his own two crutches. And by the time we shut the trunk, Marcus Bergendorf, one of Chris's best friends, is about 2 platforms away with his own balls and his own suitcase. Didn't bring any of Chris's stuff. He's waving at us, guys, the train's coming. He's telling us that we're going to be late. And we're trying to help Chris bring all of his stuff.
So when we get on the train, I'm gone. Like I'm on a different planet at this point. So I pass out on the train. It's a 2-hour journey. We get to the airport. They provide us with a wheelchair. It was all fine. And everything was 100% until Frankie stopped pushing me in the wheelchair and they let Marcus push me, right? Here's what he's doing.
We swapped a check-in. I had to go check myself in.
There's handbrakes on wheelchairs, right? Which most people would know. Most people would not know. I was obviously on a lot of pain medication at the time, so I did not know. Marcus thought it'd be hilarious, right? In the middle of Copenhagen airport to go and push me against the wall, facing the wall, put the handbrake on, and he went inside past security. Left me there. He thought it'd be absolutely hilarious to just leave me. So I was like, oh my God. I couldn't.
It kind of was.
Marcus never once got the memo that the rest of us were trying to help with Chris's check-in and carrying his equipment and his suitcase. Never got that memo one time. Just worried about himself at the train station, in the airport. And the ironic thing is, when we got to Finland, Marcus was the one who developed back problem, and he hasn't bowled since.
Yeah. I ended up,
2 of you are, because of that, you now believe that karma's the thing?
oh yeah.
I don't believe in karma.
It's probably the best.
There was an incident when we were in Finland, and I obviously didn't bowl that day, and I didn't bowl the next day either because I was
Okay.
But I bowled the day after that because I thought it was a good idea, and somehow miraculously made the cut. But then there was an incident back in the hotel, and do you remember this, Frankie, when you had to come rushing back to the hotel?
No, you have to tell the story. I'll remember when you start
I'm
talking.
getting to the point now where I don't think people are so much on the edge of their seats with this story. I think they're wondering where the end of it is. So,
Well, the end of it.
The end of it was the trip. My part of the story is done.
Yeah, well then I'll tell you what, I'll leave it there. Bergendorf ended up actually in the hospital in Finland full time with, I think he had something like severed discs in his spine. And like he could barely walk properly for like, I think it was like 8 to 12 months, nearly a year.
make the cut.
I was fine.
No, but I meant when you bowled in Finland, after being wheelchaired in, did you make the cut?
Yeah, so I threw my first shot. I was crossing with Martin Larsson. I did make the cut. I threw my first shot, walked back, got sick in a bin, and then went back and bowled the rest of the block, made the cut, didn't bowl again.
So you were like Zinedine Zidane in the World Cup just before he took his penalty. Puked on the penalty, went up and bowled.
I'm not quite sure it's the same thing, but it was close.
I think we may well have found Chris's burner account as well.
Oh yeah, where are we?
Sloan, have you ever been not allowed to get an amusement park because you didn't rate the ride height?
See, the thing, I don't want to try and insult. the thing is, right? People that make short jokes have terrible sense of humors. All right, because it's very, very simple for me to turn around and make no. I'm going to leave it there. I have not been stopped on amusement rides before.
Oh, here's somebody who was on your side. I got so far on the edge of his seat he fell off.
Yeah, we have a couple stories like that. That wasn't, thank God, that wasn't the actual story that me and Frankie kind of talked about telling on this show.
Well, that's
I'm glad
good.
how we went to
Your own show. Talk us through your show. What can we expect apart from this cluster that you've turned our show into?
You can expect a bit more structure.
Really?
A little bit more class, you know.
I do enjoy your show. I come in occasionally, just drop in the odd.
Yeah, the
I
other
don't really watch it.
Yeah.
But so when is it? How can people find it? You know, who have you got coming up, etc.
Yeah, it's on Thursdays on my Facebook page, Francois Lavoie, and it's usually around 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern time. We've had to switch it up an hour or so back and forth with guests from Europe, guests from who had different commitments. So usually around 4 or 5 p.m. on Thursday. So tomorrow we've got Tim Mack coming on. So yeah, we're talking a lot today. We might not talk as much tomorrow. I'm sure once we give Timmy the green light, he'll take it off and he'll take the whole hour. But it should be very interesting. It's a lot more laid back than a lot of the more official shows. A little similar to yours. There's a little bowling talk, but there's also just a little just regular conversation, not necessarily all about bowling.
I do feel that Chris tends to get the bad side of the show a lot. Like people tend to pick on Chris. However, with me being the guest this week, feel like the tables might be turned here, Frank. Feel like a lot of Timmy's stories come from you being a lunatic.
Timmy, I think, has a lot, but I think I'm hoping that Timmy remembers the bond that we've created over the years and that he remembers a lot of the good things rather than the potentially bad things.
He'll definitely remember telling you that you shouldn't change ball when you're about to shoot 300.
That he will remember, and I don't know if he'll remember what he told me immediately after the 300.
Oh,
but I'll remind him.
We brought it up.
Yeah,
Timmy was quite proud of it. So
yeah.
anybody who wants to hear that story should check out. What'd you call it? Happy Hour with Frankie and Chris? Or?
Yeah, Happy Hour with Chris and Frankie.
Chris
so Happy Hour, we Chris and I mix ourselves a little cocktail every week. The guests sometimes prepare the same cocktail as us, sometimes not. Last week we had Brad and Kyle on, and they were just drinking beers. Chris and I had rum and cokes. We try to switch it up. Being that it is quarantine, it's not so easy to get a lot of ingredients. So we've been mixing up some simple cocktails lately. But yeah, we have a drink, we have a chat, and it's a lot of fun.
Okay. This guy's all over you, he's slow.
He's slow. Frankie's tiny.
I want you to notice I made not one short joke.
I know. I was actually very proud of the fact that you were sitting back there, Chris. That was very.
He's probably given them to all these people to comment, to all these fake accounts.
Well, that's all my other accounts, actually.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed your guys' show on Sunday for the biggest reason that you two weren't on it. But however, I'm just kidding.
That's great. That's great. I have to change your nickname from Lucky Charms to Chip.
Oh, okay. So actually, last week on our show, we tried to talk about taking on some of the older guys in a, I suppose,
Trash
of shit talking basically. And I think in our chat we done it maybe once or twice, and we got roasted. Me, Brad, Stu, you got me. I think Belmo got Brad.
No, Belmo went after Kyle.
Oh, Kyle, that's right. Yeah. And we all decided to go back in our box after that.
Kyle suggested that if he could bowl any person in the world in an action match, he would pick Belmo.
Yeah. And Kyle always says that. Kyle loves to he loves telling people that he wants to just shoe up against Belmo and beat Belmo. He always loves the feeling he gets when he beats Belmo in match play. And of course that's funny because we know how Belmo feels about people who think that way. When they're only worried about the 30 bonus spins to beat him in match play, he thinks they shouldn't even be bowling the tournament in the first place. He's not worried about it.
He also came in off the top rope. That must have been nice to see that he was watching your show.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, he charged in with "Attaboy Kyle, 2 wins out of 50, way to stay positive." I think was pretty much what he wrote.
Yeah, I think that was myself and Frankie were talking about it then afterwards, and we were like, I wonder just how much lurking on social media he does after that. Frankie probably didn't want me to say that out loud, but that's what Frankie said.
Yeah.
This is CBS Kyle. We were speaking about that. Speaking of guys that have been on some TV shows, but not really on Fox much.
Yeah.
That's good producing.
What
right
was
there. That's well done.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, that was on the World Championship was on Fox. That was my first one.
Yeah, you're on Fox.
Nowhere to be seen last year.
Well, and no fans were there because of it, evidently. So
exactly. You make one show, here's what happens.
Yeah.
They said it was a pandemic, but really they looked at the lineup and went, "Oh God, that boring guy wins the US Open."
They cleared the entire city.
Let's put it on that rather than just nobody showing up.
It was because we were all there, right? Just up until the day before the show. It was a bit crazy how it went from not obviously not normal, but it went from everything was normal, and then a day later it was just Frankie, Simo, and Chris in Vegas.
Yeah, it was like Armageddon hit, wasn't it?
Yeah. You remember we were all in the paddock, and it literally looked like everyone was just running out of the bowling center, leaving everything. Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've managed to stretch this out, God knows how, to 56.5 minutes without Chris really saying a word.
This is almost a perfect show.
Yeah, Chris is going to come up and
a lot of points.
Put you under the gun for 10 frames. How do you want to do this, Chris? Are we going to ask them different questions, or are we going
to? We may spread them out. Some of them will be both of them. Some of them might just be from one. We've asked a few of them already. Obviously,
Anonymous has texted a few questions in. Well played, Frankie. We enjoyed that section.
Anonymous is a popular man.
Anonymous.
Yeah. From Anonymous in Europe, do you believe in karma? All right. What bad could happen here? Frankie already talked about his lung issue and that. So Sloan, what's something no one else knows about you?
I suppose not a lot of people would know. I have quite bad asthma as well. So I suffer with it quite a lot, actually. I have a steroid inhaler that I have what's the thing that they call for when you go to World Championships and all that, you need a form. Huh?
QE, yeah.
Therapeutic use exemption.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant seeking attention.
Oh God.
Yeah,
no.
That's just a life philosophy, not a form.
So I'd say one thing a lot of people know about me is I'm asthmatic. That'd probably be it, I guess. I'm pretty open about a lot of things.
Open book.
Well, yeah.
Well, I really appreciate my,
yeah.
Oh, Frankie's brilliant.
You don't necessarily appreciate my nicknames for you. So if you could pick yourself your own nickname, what would it be?
This is for Chris, yeah?
Sure.
Either, both.
Yeah.
Why don't you go first, Frankie? Considering you're fantastic on the spot.
Yeah, Conor McGregor here. We've nicknamed for his ability to punch, or kick his own bag.
Kickboxing.
Never his own bag.
Yeah.
Not my own. I don't know. I have quite a few nicknames. Frankie Frank, Tank. Timmy calls me Tank.
That's
You like that one? Your eyes lit up when you said that one.
Yeah, that coming from Timmy, that's a good one.
We Timmy came up with beef, so you got out of it better than I did. Me and Chris are floating that we might drop into Rob Stone and Randy that you would appreciate being called Sweet Maple Magic.
That would be
That's a little much. I don't think a nickname shouldn't necessarily be that much longer than the actual name.
that would,
French fry. In
French fry.
in Maine, they called me French toast. You know the way they give everybody a nickname there.
Yeah.
That was mine in Maine.
I don't know. For me, to be honest, I've had a lot of nicknames over the years, so I couldn't even fathom one that I could come up with. I don't like being called Christopher that much. There's only some people call me Christopher. It normally dictates when I'm about to get in a lot of trouble. So I stick to Sloan nearly everywhere I go because it's not a super common name. So,
Sloan Ranger.
no, see that was yeah. I don't mind it, but I thought like it's definitely better than some of the other nicknames I have. But
I feel like you should bleach your hair white, only wear black shirts, and call yourself Guinness.
don't start. We have managed an hour before me and you ended up going at it, so I'm gonna just no. I do like Guinness though. It's true.
Man, this has been an outstanding show from the cheap seats. The and hot today. So me and AJJ will be allowed to come on the show since you all have lowered the requirements.
See, you can come on the show. No, it's not my show. I'm gonna take
did a show with a multiple major winner. We would extend it. So if AAJJ can convince Dom to do a show with him.
Oh,
but we had Brad and Kyle on, so he just basically has to find anybody with a title.
yeah.
So,
yeah, that's true. Or even half a title.
that's true, because it was only half a title.
There's AJ. Faithful viewer.
Yeah, I do love AJ, so I was gonna come off the top ropes at him, but I like AJ, so I'm gonna leave it out. Would you believe actually myself and AJ had a wrestling match before in Reno, and much to everybody's shock, I got him down, made him tap, and that's the end of this conversation.
All right. Well, I do feel like we could extend an olive branch to AJ, and if he has 75,000 subscribers on YouTube, we'll have him on.
There you go. Or a title. Well, we're going to about two of these questions. I guess we can ask. All right, this is for both of you. Dumbest way you've hurt yourself.
I had one come up just over a week ago. I was playing tennis and I got hit in the eye with the tennis ball. I've been since then. I've been to see a general practitioner and I've gone to an optometrist.
So, who hit the ball that hit you in the eye?
That was Derek Hartnell.
Maybe didn't hit it harder.
So, is he better at tennis than Bowers?
Yeah, he's much better than Bowers at tennis. The ball. I was from what I remember, I was rushing the net and I went for a backhand and I mishit it and I framed it and the ball, so it didn't come straight into my eye, but it deflected off the frame of the racket and into my eyeball. So nothing around my eye hurts at all because thankfully the eyeball itself took all of the blunt, all of the hit.
I'm telling you, I had to even participate on the show because the comments have been gold.
Yeah,
Once we get the title, they will think about bringing him on when he wins twice. Drug test is coming.
I think one of the silliest ways I hurt myself. I think I fell off something that I wasn't supposed to be on, and I fell off it from quite a height, and I dislocated my wrist. I was in I can't remember. Where were we? I think we were. Yeah.
Sloan, I think the next time that you do something silly to hurt yourself, it will be when you're riding the object in Simonson's bar.
Yeah, maybe. He sent us that picture. Dude, my wild days are long behind me now. I can't even have. I can't party. I can't do certain. It's all wrong.
Rob Jones asking if it was a booster seat you fell off.
That's fantastic. Love Jones. What a name. No, I fell off a pole. I was climbing a lamppost. I don't know why. It was on a night out, and luckily it wasn't very high, and I fell off and I landed on it and I dislocated my arm. So
that was pretty stupid. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Golly, where are we gonna go from here?
Ghosting.
Yeah. I mean, one person who's the most unlikely to return your text.
Chris.
Frankie.
There. The best trash talker, or someone who's gotten you and you went, oh, that was.
Just in general, or
I've found that Tommy is pretty good. Both of you are very good as well. But if we're getting out of this circle, I found that Tommy's usually pretty good.
Nah, dumb.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah,
not a debate, because it's not even trash talk. He just flat out is an animal sometimes.
Yeah,
a disciple.
Yeah, but people always think he's joking. It's great.
I say this all the time about Dom. If I could do the things Dom does when he's drunk and the whole world still loved me like they appear to do with him, I'd drink all the time.
I just can't believe some of the things.
It's unbelievable. I can be sober, I say something, and people take it so like, oh my God, seriously? Dom does it. He walks up, he says the most atrocious thing ever about the guy's wife, and the next day the guy's like, how drunk were you last night?
It's similar to the fact that everybody thinks Frankie's like super cool, super nice, super quiet. Like, it just blows my mind. Dom and Frankie have that same type of effect. Like,
yeah, and basically anybody who gets voted for the Nagy who hangs out in our group, like, are people insane? Like, I understand people wanted to go out for Martin, he got hit by a car. That's not sportsmanship, that's stupidity. You got run over by a car. You've known how to cross a road since you were like 6. Oh, I know. Let's give the guy the Nagy. Like, he got hit by a car.
I remember when Martin got hit by the car. Like, obviously, it was a very serious time. Myself and Fran drove to the hospital to see him. And the next day, we were obviously all bowling the practice, I think it was. And, like, they were really tough that week in Wilmington, weren't they? They were tricky. I remember that much. And me and Fran went to the hospital, and Martin's obviously lying in bed, just got hit by a car. We were both sitting there, and Martin was like, so how's the pattern? Like, how are the lanes? And I didn't mean it. It just came out. I just went, Martin, to be honest, I wish I was lying where you were. He just looked at me, and the nurse looked at me, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, I'm so sorry. Oh,
dear.
Curtis von Kruger. Yeah. I would imagine.
Yeah, I don't know what the comment was. So okay.
Stu, yeah.
What are we going with next, Chris?
Let's see. One shot in your career you'd like to have back.
I'll go with 10th frame on my first TV show against Tom Doherty. I needed a triple to shut him out. I finished first, needed a triple to shut him out, struck in the 9th, and made the wrong move on that lane in 2-8-10. So that handed him a title, and on the Wolf.
I would guess probably a 9-pin against Jake last year at the USBC Masters on the show. I think it was like the 8th or 9th frame. I think it was the 9th frame, and I was on a string, and I'm pretty sure he on the same lane had got like the same messenger with the same hit to the 9-pin. So probably should have made a little bit of a move on that one.
So it always makes you more bitter when the guy gets the hit and you don't.
All right.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that one was probably the one I would have liked him back.
All right, this finishes up 10th frame here. One thing you've tried that you'll never try again.
You go ahead, Chris.
No, you take this one, Frankie.
Well, it's not food because I'm not a picky eater. I'm trying to think.
Alternately, if you'd rather answer a different question, you can answer, have you ever been in handcuffs? It's up to you.
Oh, this one's even better. Read this comment.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
See our fans, they do their research. They watch the show.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. What actually happened there was Thomas Larson had done a graph, right? And
friends from back home as well.
Oh God, yeah, Owen's watching. I'm gonna not roast my actual friends from Ireland on the show, so Owen, just shut. Please stay out of it.
And there's the ball giveaway.
Yeah, Thomas Larson had done a graph beforehand showing exactly how many points people needed to be able to be eligible for the draft, and had an error in it.
A significant one.
I think like 100 points or something like that.
That's literally the greatest comment we've ever had on the show. I'm coming to spectate.
Oh God! All right, Frankie. One thing you want back?
Oh, I've never been in handcuffs.
Okay.
Let's go with that. Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay. Yeah.
All right, 10 frames with the happy hour. Wow. Well, an hour and 10 has passed, and most of it was laughter or complete avoidance of telling the actual truth. So,
So we'd like to thank both you guys for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
So what time's your show tomorrow?
Tomorrow is at 5 Eastern with Timmy.
So there you go. Tim Mack on the happy hour, 5 Eastern. France Our Facebook page. Check it out. If you could do us a favor, buy a t-shirt, but more realistically, we'd love it if you would go to the YouTube channel and click a subscribe for us. That would be very helpful. We're putting all of the stuff up there, and the sooner we get back into a bowling center, the sooner we can put up more useful content for you rather than what we've been putting up in recent times.
I feel like this has been quite useful.
But check out beefandbarnzy.com to buy your very own Beef and Barnzy t-shirt.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. You guys are doing pretty good with this. You've grown it pretty significantly, pretty quickly. It's pretty entertaining to see.
Yeah, you guys helped us like with the idea of actually going through and doing our own little show, so we appreciate that too.
Yeah, have you noticed how everybody in the world is using StreamYard now?
We should get a kickback from them at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd really appreciate it if you guys would stop being cheap and upgrade so we can get a free month.
If Frankie is on my right, there you go. That's anyway.
Well, yeah, thanks a lot for coming on, guys. It's been very entertaining, and maybe we'll have to do this again, or flip the script, and maybe we will try drinking with.
Yeah, I'd love to come on a third time before AJ's first.
So, do you think you'll get to 3 visits on the Beef and Barnzy before you get to 3 US Opens?
I'd like to think so. At the rate you guys are going, you're going to run out of players. You'll have to have me back at some point.
We just felt like, though, that when we had the show that looked like this, like just holding you like just in the screen like this. That
It didn't really count.
Yeah, that was tough.
we should probably, you helped us out when we desperately needed help to start.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys.
No problem. We'll speak to you soon, Frankie.
Yeah.
And you, Sloan. Have a show tomorrow.
Thank you.
Just taking punches right down to the end. You gotta love it. So,
Okay, well, we're back on Friday at 2 Central, our last mock draft. We have a pro shop and bowling personalities, I guess. We have we have Jay Nephew of Wheel of Fortune fame. We have Jeff Hartsfield, who is a tournament director and pro shop owner in the San Antonio area. We have our Brent Bowers, who is Frankie's grass cutter.
If Brent's watching, he hasn't come by with his lawnmower in a while. The grass is getting quite long in the backyard.
And then last but not least is Mike Calderone, who has got an exciting training center being developed in the Phoenix area and is a former Chris Barnes bull rep. So no doubt during the drafting, he can have some entertaining anecdotes when Chris is a little frustrated. And his will be different because when Chris was repped by Mike, it was pre-glasses. So the glasses toss was not part of Chris's repertoire.
no. And actually, Mika was on staff then, so I wasn't even in the top. I wasn't.
No.
I was relatively easy. The bar was a little higher. So.
Yes.
So, that'll be our last mock. We'll see. Maybe Sloan will get drafted this time. That would be cool. I'd like for him to do more than just cheer during the event. That should be cool. Nothing.
Silence. Wow.
Yeah, it's all fun and games until it gets a little too close and it's real, Chris. Okay.
That was the line. Sorry, I apologize.
Yeah.
Not our global team. My bad. Here we go. All right. Well, with that, we're going to wrap this up. I want to thank all of our sponsors. We had it up a little bit earlier, but there it goes again. Storm, Roto Global, Vice, Turbo, Logo Infusion, Cool Wick, 3D Shoes, Dexter Shoes, Master, and anyone else who has ever made any product in the history of bowling. So thank you for being a part of this. Hopefully we're all back out in the lane soon, and support small businesses when you get a chance. Keep them afloat. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless.
See you later, guys.